Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Tuesday, July 25th, 12 a.m. Eastern, but this is a review for Monday, July 24th. Um, these are my executions with E-Trade here, and then these are the totals of the profits and losses here. I'm actually swinging BBIG and GSIT, which I'll get to momentarily. But this was the screw up here in the Cobra account, and then the mess up here in the AMC account. So total losses a day, realized we're right at 240 with fees, $240, but didn't even have to be that. And the good thing about what I'm doing for you guys and what I'm getting back to that I haven't done in a while now is reviewing trades live, talking through them. I did a live trade earlier with TUP and with AMC. Immediately when I did this, I didn't go through my process this morning. I woke up a little bit later and tried to trade this from my phone just based off of what I had reviewed last Friday with my charting and everything, and thought I had the levels down. But I just keep reminding myself I make money when I'm at the computer. And so, but the thing about it was, is like as soon as I made that, I'm like, you know what, man, like I'm talking to, subscribers, people who are either learning how to short better or continually honing in on their craft, or just want to see some other traders who are doing their thing or whatever. And here I am, trading from the phone. And so just a good reminder, man, and held me accountable. And so I ended up exiting the position with like $115 loss. And then, of course, right at the open, looking at my charts, this and that, and I end up going long BBIG, and I'll get right into it. So with BBIG, I expected to be shorting this at some point, right? But in the beginning, I just figured that it was going to probably just come out the gate flying, and that's exactly what we got. Because if you look at the chart overall, and see, let's just go to a daily chart. Where are we at here? I mean, it has ran of recent, and so you got this chart here, and from a daily perspective, in January it did a little bit, but it's just been running. It's done a pretty good job here. This volume was pretty nuts today, which that's what we like. We want that extension, right? And so this was just pretty much just a build up, but it's been working all the way from the low ones, and now here we are in the five. So this consolidation right here where it barely had a red day, and then you get this uptick here, there's going to be momentum to the upside. And so I was ready at the open, and I ended up taking a long position at 335. What was that? Yeah, 346, and I ended up selling at 3 75, and that was from literally within a minute trade. So 934.06 to 934.44. So 30-cent gain within a matter of, you know, less than a minute. And for what I did with AMC, it's just stupid. It's really, really stupid that I would do that. But you get into these lulls, you get lazy, and it all happens to us, right? But the reality is that you bounce back from it, and you learn, and there's always the next trade. And so taking that trade, literally selling into the spike here, should have just held it. But that's hindsight, man. You want to keep discipline. And if I had a larger size, I only had 500 shares. Like I said, I've just been trading small lately, just because of that lack of discipline, and just really just continue building on. I heard David talk about how you're just taking those practice swings for the real major players in the game when those trades come, which we're right around the corner from the fall season, which I would expect the small caps to pick up, and continue to move from there. But didn't want to take any of this long, just because now we're getting into the danger zone. It's starting to extend away from that consolidation on this buildup that we saw earlier. And then of course you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes of just downside, right? But in hindsight, you could have played that and covered down here to the fade, but you don't know that's going to happen. This could just definitely hold it and rip back up, but at the end of the day it did. And so once you see this double top, this is a pattern that I continue to look for. High a day, and then when it breaks below VWAP, consolidates and then pushes back up, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see it holding above VWAP and then pushing to the upside. That's more like an EVLO, if you can reference that chart, high institutional ownership, but that's a different pattern. But breaking below, you're going to create those bag holders from up here who thought this was going to continue to go out, but now you have the bag holders down here from the short side. So I actually shorted this right through here in the day, and ended up getting short at 526. And so right where the agreement was between these 5-minute candles, and when this broke down, I figured that it would bounce, so I had some ads right here, but then it just kept holding. And then as it kind of got closer to the end of the day, I was like, you know what, just cut this because it's more than likely going to spike. Well, guess what, it did. And so I didn't get in right away. I let this candle kind of do its thing. I always want to see 2 consecutive green candles, and then some sort of downside of red candle. Then you got the bounce, and so started to figure out entry somewhere around in here, and was playing around kind of short covering, sizing in, but it ended up working out, and I ended up getting a short position at 530, and then added in, and so my average overnight is 523. I'll be up bright and early, 4 a.m. Thinking that potentially this pushes back down to 454, bounces, maybe it's his first red day, but I'd rather cover down here, recycle the shares, or and short it again, based off of the price action that's going to happen at the open. But pre-market, I think with a thinner volume and just how it just plays to the downside with that red, I think we get a nice push back down to the support levels here. TUP. TUP was a short from the very beginning. Tupperware, I don't know, for the brand, this is the live trade that I did to the long side, but I actually shorted this at the open. Upon this agreement right here, I actually got short a little bit early and it cleared me out. But that's a great thing. It was easy to borrow, no big deal. Shorted it again, and then caught the nice push down back to the 155 area. Small gains, but again, just kind of continually practicing on this. But this agreement right here with multiple 5-minute candles, 1, 2, 3. That's 15 minutes of spiking. So this downside, is bound to happen with some sort of rebound. These are the real quick bag holders, and then short sellers who are ready to play the same bounce and that retest. And so this is what I was expecting with BBIG at the end of the day. But this is a more volatile time. So you get that push. Didn't play anything over here just because this is a little bit more dangerous midday. And then of course, just like before, you get a nice healthy healthy red candle down below VWAP, pushes back up after hours. That's where the bag holders are, to where this has been underneath 160 all day, but the thinner volume gets it up there for a little bit. I shorted up here about 168, 167, exactly what I wanted. And then I just wrote it down closer to VWAP to 145 area. Didn't wait till it got to VWAP. It pushed underneath it, but 145, I get out, simple trade. We profit off of that. Here, it just peters out again. Worst trade of the day, and this was another phone trade again. Thinking that I had known the chart. And when I say phone trade, I'm not going blindly. I'm looking at TradingView. I've already had my idea of entries and everything else, but I'm not a systematic trader. I'm a discretionary trader, right? And so when I was looking at this was getting on my nerves because, again, that subconscious playing on me. Same thing, first green day, red green move with BBIG. I figured that this would have, a great spike. And the reason being is because when I looked at KSCP to the downside, you're not going to be able to see it that way. It's had multiple days, where it's been down. And so when you're talking about multiple days just to bounce, fail. The highs were at the 220s, and now we're back down to the 120s. So for this stock, we're still to the upside from a 30 cent area, but there's enough downside to where you could expect some sort of first green day movement. And if you're looking at it from a 15-minute standpoint, you see this consolidation that happens down here at the 120 level, which is usually key when it comes to areas. I don't know why, but like your 80s and your 20s, and then I would say half and whole numbers, those are going to be it. But the support here from right there, that support, it held. First green day, boom, takes off. I almost took the trade, 5,000 shares around 124, just risking red green, which was 120, I believe, and would have been a perfect entry to go, but it didn't happen, right? And so I figured, okay, well, we'll just wait for the short because again, this is a crap company, got all this bag holding up here, but I was a little bit early, and so what I thought was the 140s using the half number, it was just getting over VWAP, or getting over, this 200 MA. And so with this 200 MA, I don't necessarily use the technicals all the time, but I know what it can do. And so it was over VWAP, but it just held higher lows all day and pushed. And then of course, it gets me out of the trade after the $295 loss. I started to average in from 147, and I cut the trade just because I was losing profit. But just frustrating more on my part, not the trade itself, but just being undisciplined because I was working out at the time. Looked at my phone and said, "Oh, here we are," but not considering that it's SSR. And well, considering that it's SSR, but figured, okay, it's not going to go, to the 160s and 170s. Well, it did, and it's just you just learn. But that was the only loss of the day really, and outside of that, everything else was a1 and solid. And so let's see. I don't want to talk a little bit about it, but I don't want to get too far into the weeds because I talked about it last time. So GIST. So if we go back to the daily, like I said, just happened a little bit later than I expected. That lag, so it had to have that green day first. So now we're clearly out of this range. Just closed down. I expect one or two things to happen. Either some miraculous news, which highly doubt, just for the market that we're in, but you never know. Which I'll cut the trade, of course, but a gap down to SSR, which I just hope to wake up and it said 3. Or we just continually push down, but it's not SSR, which is great. That selling pressure can stay there. Not a lot of volume. You see, there's not a lot of volume, so you really have to be careful with this. I only have 1,000 shares on each account, E-Trade and Cobra, and so typically I don't want to trade both accounts because if they both go wrong, that's double the whammy loss. But it's working out. I think with the lesser size, I would have took this size anyways on this type of setup in one account. Would have combined it, but here we are. And so with BBIG, like I said, I got short 523 average, and then GSIT, my averages are right around 501, 502 from this break of range. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just review the last or the previous, the second to last trade review that I have. I talk in depth about this trade that I took, and so, or I believe it's the last, I don't know. But either way, yeah, man, just continually going, holding myself. I didn't want to do this tonight, but this has been a tremendous value add to my trading because it's just got me back on track and really focused. So only a matter of time I start sizing back up again, getting comfortable, and then just keep making bigger gains. Hopefully I explained everything okay, guys. Check out that live trade too with TUP. I talked through some things that was like right at the midday level. Which I thought it would spike. It did for a little bit, but it came right back. And so I exited that, but that's a good video to watch as well. Talk soon.